Hi everyone, this is Pixel Crazy. How are you? So today's stream, it's going to be a bit of an interesting stream because we're not going to be building per se. Basically, we'll be designing from scratch a new build. So I'll be drawing some ideas. You can input as well on my process, and basically we'll try to come up with a new, entirely new design. And I'll show you the process how I do it. We'll do some sketches. The one that we like, we'll start coloring it. We'll check pieces that we have, check the colors that we have, check and see if the combination matches. And what will happen is once the design is ready and we're happy with it, we'll start working on it on the next stream. So this will be an interesting stream because basically we'll be just working on designing a new mech, and we'll be doing it from scratch. So first of all, I just want to clear a few things that I've changed on the stream. I'm continuously improving on it. So I just read and tested a bit more about Streamlabs, which is part of the most used software for streamers. And I added some new chat functions. They will be, remember this was a white block on this side, so now the chat will just pop in and will display in a better way, so notifications will appear here, and hopefully it will look better. I'm working on getting this to look even better. Almost everything here is placeholder. I still like the pixel text, so that's cool. Yeah, basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be trying to do that, and hopefully you like the changes. I'll try to improve more. The other thing is I'm uploading all the VODs to YouTube as well. You can find them on pixel_me_crazy on YouTube, and you will be able to see them. If by some reason you're not able to see them on Twitch, you'll be able to reach them there. I'm posting notifications on my Twitter account about when they are uploaded, so if you want to follow me there, that would be great. And Instagram, I did upload the photos for the Zephyr Deluxe build, and the photos I still need to work on them. I did build my light box that I had before, so it was still looking a bit better, but I took the photos with my phone, not with the camera. So there's a difference still on the quality of photos. I'll work on getting that back to a level that I know I had before, where the photos look better. So that's a thing I'm working on right now as well. Basically, those are the updates. Those are the things I want to work on, and yeah, hopefully we'll continue to grow the stream and see if people like it, you know? So let's start by checking how it will look, right? So here, today's stream, pretty simple. I'll be working on pen and paper from scratch. Well, no, pen, mechanical pencil. But I'll start working on basic ideas. I'll be pointing here and creating a design I like. After that, perhaps we'll do some shading and add some color to it. Let me put my most used colors here. I have more colors, but these are the ones that I have at hand. So these are the ones these are pastel colors. They give me a basic idea of what I want to work. I also have, these are different, yellow and orange. What else do I have? I think I have a dark purple. I have gold. I do have another black here. I have another green. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, well, dark blue. So we'll start working with those colors, and well, first we'll do the pencil or the basic. Hey, Cobalt. Good morning. To me, it's afternoon, so the time difference I know might be big, but thanks for joining. I appreciate that. So yeah, the chat on this side, I might make it look a bit bigger so it doesn't look that attached. Let me try that real quick. I don't know if that works. Okay. But hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Okay, so the idea. What are we going to work today? We're going to start the design of a new mech from scratch. You usually start with this mechanical pencil and paper. This is a plain notebook I have. Any piece of paper I have works for this. And what do I want to build today? I said I want to do like a new version of Joker, and I have a few ideas I want to work on. And my creative process, usually what I do is I take things I like and I try to mix them and add them to a mech, which is why most of my builds are inspired by games in a way, because it was one of my major hobbies, and some of them are inspired anime, like this one in particular. This is not inspired. This is a build from an anime. This is from a Gargantia, right? So I do love taking inspiration from things I like in building, and I have two modes, or so what I call. I have the straight up trying to replicate the design that's on the screen, and take the things that I like and integrate them into design. So let's start with the basic. First, let's try to identify which type of frame I want. And this time I want to make a Joker. And this might sound weird, but you'll see that difference at the end. That is inspired by Wrath Metal from Guilty Gear. Let me try and see if I can find them. I don't know if that's how you spell it, but that's how I'm going for it. And usually Google corrects the. So what I mean by I want to use her as inspiration, okay? Okay, did I get that here? Okay. I like her design in the fact that she has a small frame, she has but details coming from the head, and she has two big weapons on the side. So I might start working on doing that. And that's what I want to do. I want to do something like this. I want to build a mech that has a small body frame, but has a lot of armor and designs adding to that, including one or two big weapons that will be floating, and they're having like a small hand grabbing them. And the small hand, I'm still thinking, and if it actually it's the mech's hand or is an attached that's here that might lay on the back. I'm still thinking of design choices I want to do. Basically, I want to replicate the cloak on one side and a small body frame and a single weapon with an attachment. So this is the inspiration I want to do. I don't want to build a Wrath Metal itself, but this is what I want to take out of that design and try to create a mech based on that. So let's start with that, okay? And let me check real quick. I think I can leave that. Hello? I'm having some issues here. Let me try to fix that real quick. Okay, so let's start with that. Let's start drawing a frame, right? This is a basic shape that I'll make. Hopefully I'll try to make it dark so you can see. And from here we'll build different shapes and try to make that work, right? So, small frame, small body, right? And let's work on just giving small shape and test a few things. One of the things I wanted to ask, and perhaps this you can help me with. Oh, sure. Let me get this perhaps a tad smaller. Yeah, let me try and see if I can fix this. Okay, it's still there. I'm testing these things, and some things might not work at all, but this is just me being new at this. Okay, so again, let's try to give it a shape. I'm working on a general shape right now, and I'll start adding details from that. General shape. Okay, small frame. Do I want to add feet or just like stops as a reference? I don't know if you know, for example, mechs in Son of Ender, they usually have like pretty small feet, and I usually take Gehuti as a reference. Okay. Usually when I try to build mechs, these are the kind of builds that inspire me a lot. This, particularly this type of mech, I really love the Son of Ender mech. So as you can see, this type of design it doesn't have feet. It has like an entire shape at the left. So when I design, I usually try to go, do I make feet on this design, or do I make just the leg end? And for this one, I'm still undecided about that. But let's keep that in a pen. And for example, I said I want to make like a cloak from one side. So how do you make a cloak? You basically could do like a side armor here and extend the armor into 3 pieces. I don't know if you can see that. So these 3 shoulder pads, or an extension of 3 shoulder pads, could work. And from here you can just add like a plate and add another plate here. This way, when we build, this is all planning. When we build, we might need an additional plate here on this side. So right now, if we make a side build like this, I don't know if you can see this small part. Let me see if I can move it. This way might work. Okay. So this might be the main plate. We might have to add a plate on this side, this one, and then add another one here that will be front facing. And same goes to on the back side. So let me put it up with colors. Perhaps you can see that more clearer. So this will be the main shoulder pad, or the main cover. Yeah, I love orbital frames as a design base. So you always try to take something from things I like. And so if we take that, this side panel will be represented here as well. And then we take another one here and another one in the back. So those 5 panels might actually work as a cloak or a cape, and you can view them as an armor that's just standing on one side. So this will be this part, right? And what do we do now? So if I put the shield on this side, I usually try to balance design-wise how the mech would look. But I also like asymmetry. So one side being different to the other means, let me try and lower the lighting here a bit. Perhaps you can check this a little bit better. Okay, let me know if you can see better the drawing. I think it does look better. Okay. So if I do that, then I can add a big weapon on this side. I'm using a plain square big sword as an example, but it might not be a sword at all. It could be other type of weapon. And what we could do is, and this is how my ideas flow, and this is why I wanted to do this as a stream itself. What can you do to make this interesting? And I usually like functionality in the design. If you don't know, I'm an engineer by background. Thanks. Oh, perfect. If you can see that, that's perfect. I'm an engineer by background. I do have a lot of background in drawing and being artistic as well, but what I studied for was being an engineer. So I do like knowing how things work and how it could possibly work. So how do we integrate things that are interesting and plausible? What about if this arm detaches by itself? And that's why you need the cover. So if you need the cover to touch the arm, what about if we make the arm, the detachable arm, being this, the floating unit that is here? And that's how you justify it being floating around. Okay? So when we finish the build, or what I would try to make here is, okay, so if I'm going to cover this side of the build, I'll try to make this arm detach or detachable so it can carry the sword on the other hand. And this entire arm allows, you can add design to it and make it perhaps simple, but we can add another function and perhaps we can add some type of energy weapon or something to this arm to make it useful. But that's what I'm seeing or what I'm imagining here. So let's try, for design purposes, let's try to go with like small feet or stops like an orbital frame. And what else can we add here? We can add perhaps another part of like the shoulder armor here. I'm thinking like this part would look like, have you seen War Machine from Marvel movies? So War Machine usually has like armor or weapons stashed in like a small box here at the top of the shoulder. So perhaps that's how you can check, or that's how I view them in my hand. And we can try to replicate that. And what else can we add from the design here that I would like? Okay, this part is interesting. How do we make this? Usually this part we can keep a simple shape and it would make the mech look smaller, or we can add something big here to make it look like an orbital frame, which usually have the cockpit coming from that area. So let's try and see if we can make something out. The other thing is legs. How do we incorporate an interesting leg design to the mech that could be unique? If we want to make it smaller, or if we want to keep it smaller, usually you don't have like huge huge like knee pads. What we could do to integrate this is we could make this knee come this way and perhaps have some kind of shape integrated into the leg this way. So now we have a more interesting leg shape. It looks like a boot or a big boot, and we can add different, perhaps like boosters at the back. Okay, so when we design this, the shape of the leg itself will be kind of small, but the interesting part would be seeing how the shape integrates. And of course, I'm not adding details in any way in this part yet, because I still have to figure out which type of pieces I'm going to use and how I'm going to actually build this in Lego. So right now, the main priority of this part of the design is just figure out the main shape. And giving or creating a shape that you want to maintain or try to replicate as much as possible once you start building. But it will give us an idea of how we can, I don't know, go ahead. And many times the design that you actually build does not match the end design at all. So that could be a problem. It all depends on what you want to do. And sometimes you can just go back to the drawing board, and that's fine. Or you can just know what you like from the design, take it, and keep building from the creative process of building. But I do like to put ideas in paper first, because it gives me an idea to work on from the get-go. So for now, we have like an interesting leg design, right? That we can use as a base to work on. It basically would be a straighter leg. When we build it, we could perhaps do this. And this way is what would allow us to bend it. So I do always take in consideration, even if you have an interesting idea, how it would work mechanically. Yeah, that does happen, Cole. Usually you start with what could be a great idea, and you build it, then you don't like it at all. But seeing the build design would perhaps give you an idea, a totally different idea that could be the end process. And I do have some old photos that I will show you. I just have to find my Flickr account where I built designs. I think one of the Joker design I have the build next to the drawing. So that could work. That could show you, or go ahead and show you how I usually go from a drawing to a build. And I'll search that in a minute, and perhaps we can share that in here. So what else do we do? Okay, so we have a general idea of how we build the legs, how we build that. We could keep perhaps this part of the leg. The shape could be straighter, or we can keep that as like a small protuberance. It doesn't have to be the same shape or thickness as the leg. It could be just a detail, a small detail. Now we're going to add like mainly the shapes you want to keep on the design, and next we'll try to work on I'll try to make this particular design have like a big neck or something like a collar, so that it actually, on most designs, the head and the neck are, you only see the head, and the neck is almost always hidden due to the shape. But I'll try to make this particular build like have a collar on the neck that shows behind the face, like this. Okay? Not necessarily like a shirt collar that comes from the side to the shirt, but more like a turtleneck that starts thin and you can see the end of the back of the head that way. So that's something I want to perhaps try to build with this, if the shape allows it, but that's what I'm thinking right now. I need something like that. Okay? And for the next step, what are we going to try to do? I'll try to add details to the head. Usually the head is not that thick, but I do like the idea that she has like a hat. And if we want to make this a new Joker, one of the most identifying factors of a Harlequin, which is the basis of a Joker, is the pointy hat. And I've tried to incorporate that in many old Joker designs or redesigns. I think the latest one had 2 fire pieces coming out of the head this way, giving it that shape. So we could do that, or perhaps we can go a simple what I call a B design, right? We could do a B design here, and from this side builds. We could add details that come out of them, like perhaps floating, and add some like dangles from them, and it could apply from, or it could work from both sides. How can we make this mechanically? I'm still thinking about it, but right now this is an entirely, yes, that could be because Mirage, she was based on a Harlequin, so she has that basic shape that represents the Harlequin hat. Let me just show you that, what I mean. So Harlequins usually have the pointy hat. It could have 1 point or 2 point. Usually have 3 point, but we can take this as a base. And when I designed first, Harlequins have a different sided, or they're very asymmetrical, but they retain the colors. They just play with this shape and the location of the colors, but the colors usually are the same, but asymmetrical, very symmetrical, this is the base of a Harlequin. So if we want to work on something like this, when building this, we can make the leg, for example, this part, I'm just quick playing here. Let me try and see what colors we go. Okay, let's use the same colors that I had on the other Harlequin, okay? What we could do is, we can make this part something like this color. So we will be playing with 1 color in each side, and this part will be the blue. This is a very light blue, but works to simplify the color that I actually use in Lego, right? And this way, we're already working with color asymmetry, but we know that if we're going to use those two colors have to be perhaps on the same build and at different locations at the top. What do I mean by that? So if we build this way, or if we design this way, we could add like a small protuberance here that is pink on this side, but we'll take that same approach when building blue from the other side. And this creates a basic color symmetry that should work and goes well with the Harlequin based design, and goes well with the build. And which pieces I'm talking about? This is important because we have many shades of pink that we could use. Oh. I'm trying to take out of box. It's stuck. 1 second. I don't know which piece is stuck. I have a piece stuck here that doesn't allow me to take this box. Okay. Sorry about that. But basically, I just wanted to show you that these are different shades of pink. Okay. Once we start building, one of our jobs will be seeing which one of these shades would go better with the shade of blue. And we have actually tons of shade of blue that we can work against, right? Let me show you different shades of blue that could be useful for this. Sorry about this. Usually, I can take these pieces, but sometimes they get stuck on the box, and I cannot take them out. When I'm working alone, usually that's no problem. I just work on jiggling them until they get out. But on the street, it becomes a more stressful process. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. This is another shade of blue that could work for that. And we also have, of course, the light blue. As you can see, these are different shades, and we have to work around. So if we're going to work with these two colors that are usually opposite on the color scale of the 1 second, let me try and see. Let me try something real quick. Okay. Here, and I'll just one. I like how you plan the colors on the side. Yes, that's a way that you can start building and just go with the colors. But I usually start planning the colors from this phase, and not only which colors I'm going to use, it's which shades of colors go with which what. So the normal Joker that I had uses these two shades of blue. And there are many factors that you consider when choosing which color you use. The main factor that you can use is perhaps the fact that you have more pieces of this color, and I do have more pieces of this blue than of any of the other blues. But we could work on perhaps mixing two shades of blue like this too, and from these two shades we can start working on perhaps using these two shades of pink, and that way you create volume by adding different type of colors, but colors that are like one grade below on the color scale, and I'll show you how that works real quick. But first, let me try to fix the chat text size. It's way too big, and sorry about that. It's gonna take me a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I do plan from this part of the build, but it takes a while to come out with the correct shades and what to use. And sorry, I know the stream is a mess. I'm messing royally right now by working on this on the on the stream by itself. But I'm trying to fix this, and for the next stream it should not be a problem, right? 1 second. Okay, let me just show you. Let me put the pieces to the side. And then the markers to the back as well. And then this will give you an idea which color I'm working on. Okay. Okay, Cobalt, can you do me a favor? Can you type anything again? I just want to make sure how the text size comes out on the stream. Okay, perfect. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it does look better. I still can work on it on making it look better, and I don't want to like interfere a lot with the I'm testing a few things, sorry about that. And let me try this here. Okay. Sorry about that. It's taken. Yeah, I know there's some delay, and as far as I know, that's something that's from Twitch. I don't know if that's something that can be fixed. I'm also working on upgrading the internet speed, because this is actually my office. This is not my home. I do have way more internet at home, but I'm trying to see if I can fix the speed here. Let me try and see a few things. Okay, let me just, I think that size is good, I can see it. Okay, so let's go back to this. So where we left at color coordination or color balance. what comes to mind, if I'm going to use blues and pinks, I might end up using actually all three colors. And this will be the interesting part. This will be the main blue, and this will be like on parts where on the sides, or for example, if the main leg, this would be the main blue, and this blue would be at the side of the legs. And this blue that's a bit lighter, this one, I could use some pieces to add highlights. So think of it as this. So if I'm drawing, this is color, right? If I go deeper on this end, you see that this part looks darker, right? And this looks brighter. And this is normal shading of colors. And I could replicate that normally with different variants of the color that we want to use. Yeah, I'm doing some tests on the stream, but I don't like to do that, mostly because I want to make this time something that you like and that you can get something of value. It's my work to make this a good time for you, so that I can explain this and that you have fun, or at least some entertainment out of it. Me testing it on stream, it's not perhaps talking to you or explaining to you, and it takes away from the experience. So I usually like to do the testing outside. I do take notes of what I need to work on for the next stream, which is why I tried to fix the chat, but I think the chat was working better before. I think it's just a fact of perhaps it's not reading correctly. So I'll test on other things after. But yeah, basically that's it. Okay, so let's go back to this. So this is the basic design that we're going for, and oh, thank you very much. I do like this. I do like speaking, because usually this is a silent process. I just start building on my own, and all this that I'm speaking is just going on my head, and I'm going back and forth, but there's something about saying it out loud that is kind of cool, because it's speaking to you. And oh, hi, thanks. Those icons that I made, that the notifications, those are pixel art that I did for a project that I was working long ago about making a game, a pixel art game. I just didn't have the time to complete that with work and everything. I did have some of the assets made. I didn't have any use for them until now. So, all that work that was in the past, at least now I have some use for it, with the notifications and things. And I'm working on getting, I think, to affiliate, which is the next step. If we get to affiliate, I can perhaps work on getting and do custom icons and stuff for you. I would love to do that. We still need tons of work. I still have to stream more often. I still have to complete some time during the stream and get some followers. I think it's 50 followers. Once I do that, perhaps I can upgrade it and give you a different icon, because again, all the pixel art that you see here, I did that. It's one of my passions, which is not that big of a jump if you consider pixels as a form of bricks. So I've always been working with bricks one way or another, even if it's digitally. Hard to you, Chopper. That's my wife. She joined the stream. So yeah, that's the basis of it. If we work on this, now we can add more colors, or work on adding colors. one idea that I have is working with black. I always like working with black because that's the piece I have. I have way more pieces in black than any other color. So if we add black here, we can make the back of the legs or the top of the legs work in black, right? And we're already giving it a distinct shape by having this in black, right? We could, and this is interesting, I don't have gray, but I do have golden. Yeah, I had it somewhere. Okay, here. We could make the metal pieces, we can make them either gray or golden. I'll try to make them golden. This doesn't look golden enough. Let me check. This is copper, but it usually looks more golden than golden itself. So by adding metallic colors to the build, I think we can make it look better. So we already have 3 colors we're working on, right? We're working with the pink, we're working with blue. Yes, that's basically what they are. They're 1 by 1 tiles. So I've been working with bricks even if I was not working with bricks. So far we're using 4 colors, right? And white, which is a base color, but we're using that to work on. We could try to replicate or do something like, I'm thinking perhaps something golden here. So if we do something golden on this build, right now we can see that we're already having a build that for me has an interesting shape. Okay? And this, all of this, we're coming by with a design that I think it's starting to look interesting. I like the white, so we'll probably keep the white as white. What we do is we'll remark the area where we're using white. That way I know that even if it's white, it is meant to be white, right? And we can add, perhaps, we can start adding details that I know for sure we can add in different colors. So we'll try to add black shapes around here. And by adding these black shapes, we're just trying to add or retain the Joker or the Harlequin look. What we could do, we could continue perhaps this way, and it will make it like a black separation from the top to the and we can play with this in many ways. I don't know what else we could add right now. I mean, I'm thinking this design through. This is interesting. We can make the brake parts or the how do you say, the articulations usually have separations so you can move the neck, so you can move the chest. All of that we can work on making those separations black, and so we can extend this black here and perhaps making it more this way. And for me, it's taking shape. It's starting to look interesting. It's starting to have a shape that I can work with. And usually that's the most important part of the drawing phase. Just making something out of the ideas that you have in mind. And it's starting to look this. Tell me, do you like how it's coming out? Do you like the idea that I'm pointing out here? And yes, we're going to be working perhaps a lot on this design and adding more details to it. And again, like I said, some of the details are not, you're not going to keep them all together. Sometimes you will see when you try to build them, some of them are impossible to keep. But that's okay. The idea is, once you start building, try to get as many details as possible, and even perhaps adding more details that you didn't have before in the drawing phase. Because sometimes you have to work with the shape of the bricks, and that means knowing exactly what shapes you can get out of the pieces that you have. Right now, I like the main shape that we're getting from it. Okay, so the cloak. The cloak itself, what color do we get from? And this is the interesting part. That could be an interesting idea. Doing something like this on the legs. Right? And you can even go further, and even if there are legs like the Son of Ender legs, we can definitely try to add this design choice, and it will look even more like an harlequin. Do you like it? Actually do like it a lot, because it gives color to this part, which make it not entirely white. That's good, and it also gives it a shape that I find interesting. So that was a good suggestion. Thank you. What else do we build? I'm thinking. Let me go back and close this real quick. Let me try to move this to this side. Okay. And what else can we add? Do we add another color? Sometimes another colors, even if by small scale, could work. What do I mean by this? So we're going to be working mainly with these colors here. These are our main palette of color. But Joker, if you notice, had yellow details, like small yellow details. The good thing about that, if you use a different color as a highlight, that could work. That could actually make it pop. So I'm thinking, and this might sound strange, adding colors, details in this green. I know it might sound crazy, but hear me out. I know everything sounds crazy until you test it, right? How about this? The dangles at the end of the head, we can make them go from golden. So the mechanism that holds the dangle is golden, and then we can use yes, that's an interesting way of going with designing a mech. The thing about that is that when you try to do that way, or what I take out of that purpose is what will be the bulk, the main shape of the mech. So if we know if it's like a tank or, for example, a heavy gunner, we know it's going to be bulky, right? But I'm seeing this design as sort of like a quick melee mech, which, if you think, I'm thinking of it having functions similar to a, it might sound crazy, but in my head it makes sense. Like it works like a Cheshire cat. So, and it usually goes with the color. What does a Cheshire cat does? It disappears from one side and appears on another. Yes, but here's the contrast part. I like the way you're going because that's the main idea of where I want to go with it. But you also see that it has a really big weapon that is not being holded by the mech itself, and that's the interesting part. It is a light unit, and not only is it a light unit, it is a melee unit mostly. It will have range attacks, but it won't be like, I won't be adding bigger weapons to it. Perhaps small laser or missiles hidden here and there. The main attack, or the main way it will attack, is it will be, for example, going from here to here in like a blink, sort of like if you play Son of Thunder like using like zero shift. Zero shift in Son of Thunder worked in a way where you compress space, and by compressing space, you appear in a different location after the space was decompressed. That was something that was a special property of the Metatron ore. I'm going something similar to that with this design. So it has zero shift capabilities or something like that, but it will use it as a melee attacking unit. So basically, if you're facing a different unit like a tank, you can just go appear at the front, it will shoot to the front, you jump to the back, which will be the weakest point, and then slash. The thing is, even if the unit appears at the back, the main weapon is detached from the unit. So you're working with two-dimensional space, or two units that you have to be careful about. This unit could work as a decoy for itself, or meaning it could move around, creating distractions, and the hand and the sword could be the ones creating destruction. But of course, this unit will have weapons on its own, so it's something that they have to consider. So that's the approach I'm giving it, or design-wise. That's why I want to make it look like it has. So it's basically a design that it's versatile, but you have to fight against it. You wouldn't have really idea. Yes. So that's what these are. So at the back of the legs, you would have a pair of boosters. That's what these are. They will be golden boosters. So you can see it will give them the mobility, and we'll have the boosters right at the legs, or at the leg height. That's what I thought about it. And perhaps at the back, it would have an additional booster right at the back, like something here. So think of it like this as the back of the mech. So in this part, it will run a different booster, a third booster. So it will be running 3 boosters in total, one at the back of the unit and one at the back of each leg. So that's what I thought about making it look fast or move fast. So it would move fast on its own. Then it has the jumping ability, but as itself the unit would be weak. So if you hit it, you might be done. And which is why I thought about giving it like a cloak shield on one side and the weapon at the other. So it having the ability to be a decoy to itself, it needs to have a way to block damage, even if it's just a part of the design, which is the cloak itself. That's what it would be. It would be like a shield that you can move and have the cloak here on this side, take a damage, and have the sword attack on another end. It looks complicated, sounds complicated. That's usually what I do with my ideas, and they end up being extra complicated. They don't need to be as complicated as they are, but they're fun ideas to work around. You have to put limitations. You cannot just make it overpower all the time. So what are the limitations that I gave this design? The fact that it is a weak unit. If you actually hit it, it will probably go down. Yeah. Perfect. If you get it, that's perfect. I usually explain this to my wife, and she just says, "Okay, you have too many ideas on your head of what you're building, and it's great that you get them, but I don't." So having someone that I can bounce this back and forth, it's great. So what's the idea of this? I'm building a unit that's light. It's not really armored except for one particular part of the build. The main weapon would be a big melee weapon that also has the jump capabilities, but it can be detached to the main unit. And I'm also thinking, instead of, and this is just out of my head, instead of perhaps having guns, I could make it throw bombs. So that's the sub-weapon. It would be bombs, right? So it could work as a chaos-making unit. How is that? So you just have it there, moving around, jumping, and planting bombs on enemy units, while the melee weapon does damage. So it could be an interesting concept. So I would have to make some sort of bomb units that it can have. They can attach with this arm, and it would work as a different kind of weapon. So it won't have that many or any range capabilities, making it a weakness. I always like to think of strengths and weaknesses. I see. Okay. So instead of using a big sword, you mean making the cloak itself perhaps going to make it bigger and detachable, so it can work as itself as a weapon. I like parts of that idea, like for example making the cloak detachable, but I do want to keep the big sword. But I do like making this sturdy. So what I could try to come out with is, and this I'm just spitballing here, these two main builds at the side, they're always on the mech. These parts could be like checkpoints or controls. And they could work as a way to, you can see them as control for the remote units, and the remote units would be the shield, cloak, and the sword. And thinking of adding design I'm thinking of adding perhaps diamonds here, golden diamonds. I'm not super happy with that, but it's an idea. I can work with that. We can perhaps even add more of the color, you know. I'm just spitballing, but yes, I get what you mean. You're basically saying keep the sword, but add that additional function to the cloak shield. That could be interesting. So instead of making it like blades, or for example like this, which are multiple straight blades. Hydar, or perhaps keeping it this way. It could be different plates, and each plate, once attached, can work an even shape of a shield, and perhaps stretch. So if you detach it from the body, you could make perhaps work and make it separate and work as a shield this way, with energy connections between them, right? So let's imagine this are energy. This is energy, right? So the plates could work in a way where attached to the mech, they're a shield, but if you detach them, they can have energy connections between the plates. Is that what you mean? Well, that's the idea I have in my head. It could work. I could actually make that work. I'm also thinking perhaps on this part, give it more of a shape, more of a bulky shape at the end of the shoulder. Okay, okay, that works. That actually works. So I do plan on making custom, again, like I said, I do plan on making custom icons. One of the ideas that I have for that is basically the main character that I have, perhaps animating, putting bricks together like this, like having two and clicking them, or perhaps like throwing a brick and following the brick. I have many ideas on icons I want to work on. It actually gives me an an idea to work on pixel art again. So this is good. Okay, so back to the drawing board. What do we keep from this? The main frame, it's basically workable. So let's just add shape and perhaps a bit of color to the shield parts. So I'm thinking perhaps, I don't know if I have enough golden parts to make this piece of this shield all in golden. What I could do, and I know for sure I do, I have black parts. So I could work on making the main shielded part, make that black, and perhaps add color details. So, for example, let me see how that goes. if I added this, I know for sure I can add details in gold at the top. And if we keep these plates in white, I could probably add small color details like this. And I'm thinking, I don't know if the green will work on this. Again, this is all testing and it might not end up going here. I'm not sure that green would go well. Okay, but it was a test, and I can always change that. And as for the arm, I can make the shoulder go all black instead of having details. So basically it will be all black. Perhaps with hints of golden in the joints, and then keeping the color scheme of switching between the two colors at some ports. To see if that's working out. Okay, so it's taking shape. This does have symbols of shape. And we could work with something similar to this. So keep the arm, this part white. This will be the back joint. So the fingers might end up being black, and the main arm all white. But with the fact that I could work on doing a checkerboard pattern. So the checkerboard would be the two colors entwined between each other, all in a white base. And perhaps some gold details at the bottom. So, how do you like, how is it going right now? Again, this is all tons of trial and errors, and I'm just testing shapes and colors. And this might not end up being as it is right now, but it has shapes that I find interesting, and that it could be a great idea to work with, a place to start with. And for example, let's continue doing this shape. This is the arm that could detach. Perhaps we can make this arm a bit different, and the detach point could be, again, could be golden. And I could design the sword differently. So about adding shapes and colors. What do you guys think? So it's all about playing with colors. I plan on perhaps using this green, which should be these two greens together. So if you put them here, you can see that it has some connection. So it's not like jumping around. It could work, especially if we add black and white to the mix. What? So I usually present don't worry about it. I'm opening it. Give me 1 second. One minute, it's still loading. Okay, so I see what you mean. Give me 1 second. Let me share that. I can do that. Okay, so okay. Okay, so this is what you mean, right? You say having the blade and the shield done. Okay, okay. Yeah, it could definitely work. After all, once we have the design, so the shield will be made out of different plates. I'm thinking perhaps 5 main plates. So the main one that would be right at the side of the arm, one small that would be next to that, perhaps give it curving shape, and right one at the end of each side that will be perhaps covering the front of the arm and the back of the arm. So those 5 could work in a way that you represent them, that perhaps could give a shape and move. So yeah, it could work. That could totally work. Yeah, I'm thinking that could definitely work. Okay, so I'm planning, like I said real quick, so this is what I mean when I plan colors. When I plan colors, I usually put them together, and the idea would be using these 2 as main base colors. This would be the 2 main colors in the gradients that you see here, and this would be the highlights. This would be present but in very small doses over the design. What do I mean by very small doses? So Perhaps you can see them here at the dangle, at the arm. Perhaps you can see small details right here, like small applications. And here at the legs, you can see perhaps like an extension here. So it will be very small applications. So how do I start designing? Usually it comes from perhaps watching an image or something that sparks my interest. So the two main inspirations for this design. So the first was when I asked on the chat which design should I go, right? And you voted about me going from the design from scratch. And I remember someone, I think it was Cobalt, actually pointing out that, how about Joker? So this is why I'm trying to do a rework of Joker. That's the first point of inspiration. And I'll show you my old Joker and its designer in a minute. The second inspiration is usually what I'm playing at, what I'm watching at, or what I find interesting. And right now, as sad as it sounds, Guilty Gear, it's fresh in my memory. And this is, I've always loved the designs of the characters in Guilty Gear. It's incredible. The main designs are amazing. So yes, that's the main inspiration right now. So it's rebuilding an old design. So that's why I'm trying to keep the colors and the main concept. And the second is the inspiration from the game. So what do I take from the game? I took a character that I liked, which was Ram Metal, and taking concepts that I liked from that and trying to apply them to a mech build. What do I like about the character? Simple. It's a small frame fighter with big weapons. And she actually moves pretty slow. She's not even though she's small frame, she's not that fast. But I'm trying to make tweaks with that. And this is what I'll try to start building next stream. So if you're interested in watching this being built, the sword itself, usually weapons is the last part of the design. I usually don't design weapons with the build. So don't worry if the sword itself is not built. That usually comes when I'm building the guy. And so does the armor. Here's usually a main shape of what I want to. Thanks, Luna. Lunary Claire. Thanks for the follow. So I'll start working on this build on Saturday from scratch. You'll see it. You'll work with me. We'll start working with the main base colors, then adding the shapes and trying to. And this is the interesting part. We'll build and try to replicate what we see here. And usually I'll show you my process of how do I try to give these shapes with the builds that we can make. Okay? So on Saturday, 6 p.m. Central, we'll start working on this. One of the things I have to work on that I found out to be a problem, and this is for sure, is how to get access to the pieces quicker. Because right now, my pieces or the main pieces I use are at the back, but I have to turn back and get them. And sometimes the boxes might get stuck, this ones. Mainly because, for example, or the main reason why they get stuck is because, for example, pieces like this, you have them facing this way when they try to come out, and they don't tend to come out. So I have to figure out a way of having the colors and the pieces that I want nearby, but without having them like pre-built. I want to show you as much as possible of my building process without planning it too much. I like it being organic. So what I might have to do is, for example, have the boxes of the colors that I'm going to work on standby, and just trying to reach the boxes that I want to use. The main problem will be black, because I have tons of black pieces, same as white, spread around in multiple boxes. So that could be a problem. I do have the joints and all that in separate boxes, so I can have those nearby. So that would be good, and I'm sure that can speed this process. And yeah, I like this design. I think I'm going with it. If you like going with it, we'll go with it together. I hope you do. I hope you stay with me during the whole process. I would love for you to stay and watch me do this. Your input, I'll take that in consideration. It's not like my idea is set in stone. If you propose something like Cobalt did, I'll probably implement it. If I like it, if we work around the idea like we work, he plants the idea, I tried to give my side, he presented it. That was great feedback. So it's something that I can definitely incorporate to the design. And this is something that I love about this format, and this is a first for me too, because building has always been a personal thing, and I do want to make it a group thing. So I'll consider me captain, but your crewmates, and I want you to be on me with me on this process, right? 1 second, let me. The last thing I want to see if I can find is I want to show you the first Joker and next to the drawing. So bear with me. I do want to see if I can find it. Okay, let me show you this quick. Real quick. Yeah, okay. So Joker has always been one of my favorite designs, and I believe people like it a lot. And the very first iteration of Joker was nothing like the end one. It has concepts similar to the ones I'm applying here. As you can see, it has a main white body, and it is white, black, turquoise. Sorry, it's pink and blue. So I'm keeping a lot of things from that design, but I'm trying to make it different, and it will be interesting to work on that. This is the rebuild. This is the last one that I made of it, and to be honest, it's no longer assembled. What do I mean by that? I actually took it apart, trying to make it a new version, and honestly, it's no longer alive, so to speak. So I do want to make a new version of it. That's another part of the inspiration, because this Joker is no longer built. So help me build a new one, and that will be an interesting process that we can go through. Let me find the drawing. I know I have the drawing. Or I think I uploaded the drawing, so you can see how it was started, then how it ended. Somewhere I had one of the drawings, I'm pretty sure. I have to get it back. Eventually, I'll do it. But right now, I don't even remember which email I used to on this account. So it's not like a safe bet. I wouldn't bet about me finding this account again. Uh, but yeah, I'll work on getting that. And from this design to this, the colors do work, right? They are the same. The pattern might be similar, but I do want to make it different. Oh, and sorry, for some reason this is going super slow. But perhaps for the next for the next stream, I'll show you that, and I'll show you the old drawing next to the build, and then we have this, and when we finish, uh, you'll see how it started and then how it ended, and hopefully we spend a great time building it, and I do wait to see you again on this next stream. So if you can join, you'll be more than welcome to join. I actually hope you can join and we can chat around what built. You can input during the process, and yeah, basically that. Let's have fun and while we create a new project. And this will be the new Joker mech build, and it will be our build, not just my build, which would be a first. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. The main drawing on the main design is here. If you want me to post it on the social networks, just let me know. Send me a message, and I might take a quick photo of it and post it. I might just do it anyway as a preview for the next stream. So I might just end up taking the photo and post it on social networks. And yeah, thanks for joining. I hope you had as much fun as I did during this process. I really did have tons of fun. Yeah, I'll post it on Twitter and post it on Instagram. I'll be posting those this drawing. I might not make more modifications. I just take a photo as it is right now and post it and say this is the design we'll be working on Saturday. So if you can join on Saturday, if you know someone, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So if you know someone that wants to check the process, that perhaps wants to start building a mech but has no idea how to start, tell them or invite them to join. I will be more than happy to explain the process of how to start to someone new, and it would be great to start with them on Saturday. So if you know someone that would like to start building Lego mechs, Saturday is a great day to start. So I'll be waiting for you. I hope that you can join. And thanks. Have a nice middle of the week. It's Wednesday. What? Okay. So I'll be honest with you. Why did I choose Wednesday and Saturdays to do this? Wednesday is the middle of the week. It's usually one of the most boring days of the week. So this is something fun for me to do on a Wednesday, and hopefully for you too, is something fun to do on this day that I personally find boring. And why Saturday? Saturday is the total opposite. So Saturday is one of my favorite days, and it's also the weekend. So I try to do this shortly on Saturday, so we can share that over the weekend. If by any chances you cannot join during the week, perhaps weekends perhaps work better for you. So I try to do a weekday and a weekend. We can talk if any other hours work for you. Many people perhaps say another different hour works. We can perhaps add a different stream. But for now, we have 2 streams planned, and we'll build this design. This is my promise, on only during the streams. I won't be touching this build outside of the stream. It will be our build, and that's the warranty I can give you right now. So yeah, let's not make this any longer. Have a great weekday. I was super glad to share this time with you. I hope you enjoyed as well. And let's keep building this as low as possible, but as cool as we can make it. Okay?